Hello, this is Mr. Cho's Garage, and today we're going to be talking about making a new gasket for a custom build. We've got a Honda motor we've been working on, and the throttle body was taken off during the build, and the gasket unfortunately is no good, and it's a special order gasket, and we ain't got time to order no stuff. So what we got here is we've got our old gasket. It's in pretty rough shape. So anyway, here we go. We got our roll of gasket material. I've already laid it down and traced it, but I thought, well, while I'm doing this, well, why not make a video? Help somebody out who's never done it before. Anyway, here we go. So I'm going to kind of give you a quick running on this one here. Set my device down here. Okay, so the gasket roll here. They have different thicknesses of gasket paper. I believe this one's like a 6/4. Yeah, 1/6/4 quarters. Anyway, yeah, it's thin, but it'll work for what we're doing because we're mating up two flat surfaces, and there's no like reliefs or anything in there, so we're good to go. I'm just going to put this to here, not for advertisement. I was just putting it down there to help hold my paper. So you want to get that laid down flat, and then you're going to put your old gasket on top of it as your template. And then I just use my ink pen and I go around, trace circles, and they got a hole right here, and then they got the 4 bolt holes. But anyway, so I've got those already stenciled out, and then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife here, and I'm going to start my cut. And you're going to follow your line and just take your time. I've made a few gaskets in my day. Yeah, back when I was a young lad, I made them out of a Cheez-It box for a carburetor before because I didn't have any gasket paper. And, I didn't have any money because I didn't have a job. So I just, I did what I did. Anyway, so, oh, dang. Just follow your lines, be precise, do a good job. Anyway, and basically same thing. You're just gonna cut it all out. Oh, see, I fouled it up. My lighting's not too good right now. Make sure you do this on a flat surface. Don't do it on concrete or something like that. You're gonna screw up your knife and you're gonna get crappy cuts because it's not gonna be sharp no more. You can dull it up. Okay, so I've got initially cut out of my unit of power here, and yeah, we're pretty good. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and continue on with the bolt holes. I like to start down and then turn the paper. It makes it a little bit easier, kind of like when you're using a bandsaw. You kind of work them both at the same time. You do a cut, turn, cut, turn. And you want to stay on your lines pretty good because the diameter that you're cutting on your lines is a little bit smaller than the diameter that you're actually trying to match it up with. So you're going to end up fighting with those later on if you don't do a good job. And don't rip the paper out too, because then you'll end up tearing it. Especially when you're using a thinner gasket material paper like this. You can end up tearing the paper on your, like, this pissed me off. Get out of there. God dang. Anyway, it's not making Mr. Cho very happy right now. Okay, here we go. So anyways, you don't need, watch the whole thing. I'm going to just make a whole video of it, but you don't have to watch it all because you're getting the idea. You just take your time, do a good job, do good cuts, stay in the lines, just like they teach you in school. Stay in the lines. If you slip and you cut it, you just might as well start over because you could have a leak, and this is what you don't want, is a leak, because that's why we're making this gasket. Because the last person that worked on this frickin' siligube all over it, and then when I got into it, guess what I was doing? That's right, I was cleaning siligube out with my vacuum because Mr. Cho doesn't like siligube down in the motor. Because siligube is not for in the motor. And I'm going to go over something. If you stay here towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you something that I use for some people. You know, I'll just use a little bit of silicone on my gasket, and it'll be okay if I just spread it on thin. But you know, you got sensors that you're dealing with. You've got your idle air control valves, and you've got your oh god dang, you got air circuits and meters that are running throttle bodies, and you know, you don't want the silicone in that, because that could plug up that meter and you'd be chasing gremlins trying to figure out why you can't get your motor to run right. Okay, so oh dang. Anyway, here we go. So I got my gasket, and I've done a real small like a pilot hole. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is, when I set this gasket, this new gasket, up to my manifold, I'm going to then cut out the orifice that it's going to want to mate up with, and then I'm going to take my knife, and we'll just say that this is the manifold here, manifold side. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut in and down, and then I'm going to slowly work it around the inside edge. That way I'm port matching my gasket to my intake. And then I'm going to check my throttle body and make any fine tuning that I have to. Same thing, so that their hole, I'm going to match it, because this isn't the right size. It's just there from the factory. I'm going to actually match my gasket to the correct size. That way everything is a nice straight shot right in there. More air, more power. Anyway, I was talking about no silicone. This is what I have here. It's this Versa Sure Attack. Extra tacky. So you guys got to shake this up real well, and you spray both sides of your gasket, you know, and then you're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. Oh dang. 5 minutes. Wait 5 minutes before assembly. Don't put it on before that, because it's going to be wet and sticky, and you can end up tearing your gasket when you're fiddling around with it, because you're screwing stuff up. So you want to follow directions when it's coming to any kind of an additive or chemical. You know, they have directions for a reason. Don't shortcut it. Just do it. Anyway, this Mr. Cho's, I don't know what kind of paper we want to call it. We're going to call it super paper. It's going to be the super paper throttle body gasket maker. Anyway, the Honda motor's all done. This is the last bit, and we won't talk about more strip bolt holes that we found, because, yeah, anyway, because, oh, god dang. But this is Mr. Cho's Garage. Take your time making these gaskets. If you tear it, start over. It's no big deal. It's gasket paper. Make it happen. Thanks for watching the videos, and Mr. Cho out.